Welcome. I want to follow up on a trade idea which is looking at the weakness in the Australian dollar, and I want first of all to credit IG's chief market strategist who's based out in Melbourne, Chris Weston, for this, because he's been following up on this a lot recently. But I thought I'd put the Australian dollar against the US currency, against sterling, and also against the euro in three charts connected to each other to give some perspective on just what the Australian dollar is doing, and it certainly seems like it is on a very weak trajectory. Let's go first of all with the Australian dollar against the US currency. And all three of these, the common factor here is this head and shoulders pattern, and they've been completed in some of these and not in others. Here we have a completion of head and shoulders. It fell down below the neckline on the 26th of October. This is a daily chart. It went into this back on this swing low back on the 9th of May, and the high point was on Friday the 8th of September. Since then, the Australian dollar has been on the way down. The height of the head and shoulders, the head down to the neckline, is the measuring tool that you put down here to take a look at where the ultimate target is potentially for this short trade for the Australian dollar against the US. And that'll take us potentially pretty much all the way down to where this all started, down at the 73.35 level. Here we are though now at the moment. I've also drawn a Fibonacci on this, taking the low point there to the swing high down to where we are, and we are now very close to 76.4% retracement, an area where there is some support, and it is hesitating at this level here. If it does continue to bounce off there, you're then looking at resistance coming in at something like 76.34.5, which is the 61.8%. But if we get a daily close below this 76.4, which is 75.17 cents, you're then looking potentially at this low point here for the Australian dollar against the US. Certainly the long-term picture would appear to be that we've got more weakness coming through for the Australian dollar against the US. This is the Australian dollar against sterling. Again, this has been a head and shoulders pattern which has been completed, and to some degree this is a very similar sort of picture that we got for the Aussie against the US dollar. Again, taking the height of the completed head and shoulders pattern, that is the height of the head down to the neckline, replicating that, and you get a print down here of the area here around about the 54.42, which coincides with the high point that we saw in this move back here on the 17th, 18th of April 2016. So that potentially is the completion of this pattern here. There is no point in drawing a Fibonacci here because we're very much at a total retracement down to this point. But certainly the momentum would appear to be a continuation of the downside. Again, you may get some hesitation around here, and in fact we are getting a little bit of a hesitation on this daily chart here as we look down, but the expectation is that we're going to continue to see a drop in the Australian dollar against sterling. Australian dollar against the euro. Now this is a little bit different because the head and shoulders pattern that started out here on that low point on the 16th of September hasn't yet been completed. But interestingly enough, we are faltering, or we're hesitating I should say, at this 63.90 level, which was the low point we saw back on the 23rd of May 2016. So we've seen this long-term head and shoulders pattern almost complete. If you get a daily close below that 63.90, you're then looking then at support at something like 63.10, which would be this continuation, this neckline, and that's the point at which we would then see a completion of this head and shoulders. At the moment, at least, again, like against sterling, like against the US dollar, we've got a little bit of a hesitation for the Australian dollar against the euro, but you've got a daily close below the 63.90, and then you're on your way down there again. And as we've been witnessing these markets, opportunity potentially to go short at a higher opportunity as the market bounces, but the long-term trajectory would certainly seem possibly at least to be on the way down. But I would caution that if you do go short on any of these trades, you look at our educational videos on where to put a stop, because what you want to do is you don't want to find yourself the wrong side of a trade that goes the wrong way. If you do go short in these markets, you want to be putting a stop a little bit above where you are at the moment to give you some sort of protection in case there is a turnaround and the trade goes against your trade that you want to place against the Aussie or against any security on the IG platform.